Welcome everyone to Daily Hope. I'm excited to kick off a new way of doing Daily Hope on Thursdays. Okay, so I was talking to Bob and Nick, and we had this idea together. What if we used the Thursday Daily Hope slot to do something a little different? What if Thursday was a little bit more like a weekly huddle, where we look at the passage for the upcoming weekend service and prepare our hearts for what God is going to be doing in the weekend service? It's where I get the chance to share with you some of the prayer requests I feel like I need as the speaker, and also the prayers that we need to be praying to as a community. So, to kick us off, I want to look at Mark chapter 1, because that's what we're going to be looking at this weekend. Verse 17 and 18 says this: "Come, follow me," Jesus said, "and I will send you out to fish for people." At once they left their nets and they followed him. Man, I love this verse. It's so exciting and so riveting. Mark just skips past the genealogies of Matthew, and he skips past the nativity scene of Luke, and Mark gets right to the action with Jesus calling his first disciples at verse 17, calling Peter and Andrew to follow him. And it's in this moment we get a picture, a vision of what it means to Jesus that we follow Jesus. What does it really mean to follow Jesus? That's what I want to explore this weekend. What does it really mean for you to follow Jesus? If someone found out you were a Christian at work or on your team or in your dorm and said, "Hey, I heard you were a Christian," and you're like, "Oh no, cat's out of the bag, they know." And they said, "Hey, what does it really mean to follow Jesus?" How would you answer that question? There are people in our life who have maybe become de-churched, disaffiliated because of misconstrued ideas about what it means to follow Jesus. There are people who have never yet given their life to Jesus because of misconceptions about what it means to follow him. And maybe even you and I have misconceptions that need to be renewed and realigned with what it really meant for Jesus when on that day he called Peter and Andrew. Because today, Jesus is still calling men and women, young and old, of every tribe, tongue, and nation to follow him. And we're going to explore this weekend what it means to throw the nets out for the big catch that Jesus wants to do through us. I love this idea of casting nets. There are people in our life that God has positioned around us because Jesus wants to reach them through us. Casting our nets, the net of the gospel, the net of God's grace and truth. And so this weekend, who are those people? Would you pray this weekend, even for 1 minute, that God would put on your heart someone to invite? Maybe to buy a book for and just hand it to him and say, "Hey, would you want to join me for an in-depth look at Jesus' life?" Some people have already been doing this, buying books and giving them to neighbors and friends and family and roommates, and "Hey, would you want to do this with me?" Secondly, let's pray this weekend that we would see a big catch as God's nets are thrown out through the preaching of his word and the gathering of his community. I'll see you this weekend. God bless you. Have a great week.